The folklore of Brazil is made up of the mixture of the diverse cultures that form its national identity, mainly coming from Portuguese, indigenous, and African traditions. Is the combination of legends, tales, myths, and stories about fantastic creatures and beings that inhabit the imagination of the traditional peoples of different regions of the country. Imagine learning something new every day without having to sacrifice your time to get it. The most important information is found in extensive books of several pages, and I understand that it can be frustrating, either because you are lazy to read, because you have children, or because your work demands a lot from you. Luckily today, this problem has an easy solution. With a catalog of more than 90,000 titles, Audible gives you the ability to consume your audiobook without an internet connection, wherever and whenever you want. Audible gives you a free audiobook every month with the monthly subscription, so it's the same as if you were buying a book a month. And best of all, if you cancel your monthly, the books will remain stored in your library forever. Win your first audiobook with the 1-month free trial in the link below in the description, and if you already have Amazon Prime, you will receive 3 months totally free. Number 1. Kurupira, protector of forests, plants, and wild animals. It is one of the most popular and oldest legends in the country. There are reports on the Kurupira dating back to the 16th century. The forest demon, as it is also called, is a supernatural entity that lives in the forests, assuming the responsibility of protecting the fauna and flora from the attack of hunters. This creature is characterized by having a body covered in red hair, green teeth, and feet facing backwards. This last quirk is used to trick people trying to follow you. They end up confused when looking at the footprints that indicate the opposite path to the one the Kurupira actually followed. Legend still says that the Kurupira has the appearance of a child. Despite having the same goal of protecting the forest, the Kurupira and the Kaipura are not exactly the same creature. It is also considered a Tupi-Guaraní mythological being. Number 2. Pink River Dolphin, creature capable of impregnating women and disappearing. Also of indigenous origin and very popular in the Amazon region, the boto would be a magical animal, similar to a dolphin, that, during the June festivities, transforms into a very attractive, communicative, and conquering man. When in his human form, the dolphin is dressed entirely in white and wearing a large hat. This hat is used to hide the holes in the head, which are the animal's nostrils that do not disappear upon transformation. Legend has it that the boto chooses the most beautiful girl at the party to seduce, then takes her to the bottom of the river, where she impregnates her. In the past, it was common to say that when a woman mysteriously became pregnant, the button was to blame. The fantastic narrative about the pink river dolphin tried to justify cases of pregnancies outside or before marriage, especially in riverside communities in the Amazon region. It was also a way of trying to hide or camouflage possible abuses against young people and girls. Number 3. Saci Perere. He loves to play pranks. He is a protector of the forests, especially of medicinal herbs. The most popular folklore character in the country, the Saci Perere, is a black boy who wears a red hat, smokes a pipe, and has only one leg. The Saci would have lost his leg in a capoeira fight. Unlike other legends, the story of the Saci would have its origin in the indigenous groups of southern Brazil. However, with the popularity of the myth, there are versions of the legend in all regions of the country and also in Argentina and Uruguay. She live in the forests and love to play pranks to scare people who enter their habitat without their permission. Number 4. Kuka. Brazilian legend of the witch Kuka, alligator-headed witch who eats disobedient children. She is described as an old-looking witch with the head of an alligator and large claws. Legend has it that the Kuka lives in the forests and likes to kidnap disobedient children. Whoever is caught by the Kuka is used as an ingredient for the evil creature's meals. The origin of the Kuka would be in Galician Portuguese folklore, which had a kind of dragon that also devoured rebellious children. Number 5. The Headless Mule. A woman who was cursed for having a relationship with a priest. The supernatural creature is described as a fire-breathing mule where its head should be. This legend has a strong moral and sexist character, since it represents the punishment for breaking the chastity of women. Any woman who fell in love or had sex with a priest would be turned into a headless mule. Other versions of the story say that a woman who has relations with a man before marriage will be bewitched as a headless mule. Still, according to the popular story, the headless mule runs through the fields and forests letting out very loud neighing, scaring people and animals wherever it goes. The origin of the legend is European, especially from Portugal and Spain. Its popularity in Brazil is evident, as well as in other Latin American countries, such as Mexico and Argentina. Before continuing with the video, did you know any of the creatures mentioned in the video? Can you tell more about them? Share your stories in the comments and feel free to suggest me more creatures or mythologies you want on the channel. Number 6. Iara, Mother of Water. The seductive siren who lures men to drown in the river. Originally from the Amazon region, the Water Mother is described as a creature that has the upper body of a woman but has a fishtail instead of legs. The Iara inhabits the rivers of the Amazon. According to legend, Iara has beautiful black hair and sits by the river singing mesmerizing melodies that attract the men of the region. After seducing them, Iara leads her victims into the depths of the river, drowning them. Some versions of the legend even say that Iara devours her victims after they drown. Whoever could escape the charms of the Water Mother would go mad. The only way to restore the person's sanity would be through the help of a pahe, the indigenous spiritual leader. Number 7. Boi Bumba. The Boi Bumba myth revolves around the story of a slave couple, Pai Francisco and May Catarina. Pregnant Catarina was looking forward to eating beef tongue. Therefore, her husband decided to satisfy her desire for pregnancy by sacrificing one of her master's oxen. However, the ox she killed turned out to be her master's favorite animal. When the farm owner learned of the animal's death, he called indigenous healers and shamans to try to resuscitate it. The ox came back to life and the whole community celebrated with a big party since the owner of the ox forgave Francisco and Catarina. Brazilians celebrate this piece of folklore every year with huge parties across the country. However, this culture is much more alive in the north and northeast regions of Brazil. Number 8. Boytata. Popular belief says that Boytata is a snake with fire covering its body and eyes. Its goal is to protect Brazilian forests and wild animals from people who try to harm nature, especially those who set intentional forest fires. Legends also say that Boytata can turn into a flaming log that kills humans who set fire to the forests. Number 9. Kaipura. Kaipura is an indigenous spirit that can have a male or female form depending on the region of Brazil in which the story is told. They protect the animals and forests of the country. In addition to scaring hunters with loud howls, they distract them with false trails, causing them to lose their way in the forest. Its main objective is to protect the entire ecosystem. Because of that, they have the power to control animals and resurrect injured wildlife. Some stories say that Kaipura will appear in the forest if someone whistles. Its origins come from the Tupi-Guaraní indigenous mythology, and the word Kaipura means inhabitant of the forest. Number 10. Boi Vaquim, winged ox with golden horns and diamond eyes, present in the mystical universe of the Pampas of Rio Grande do Sul. It can shoot fire from its horns and nose. It frightens the peasants. Because it emits fire from the tips of its horns, it takes a lot of courage to tie him up. Number 11. Bradador. As an evil man who attacked his own mother who, when she died, neither God nor the devil wanted him, and the earth itself repelled him, and one day he shrank, withered with his skin wrinkled over his bones. From the grave he rose in obedience to his destiny, wandering and stalking the living in the dark of night. In Ituiutaba, in the interior of Minas Gerais, there is a variation of this legend. It is said that the dried body, after having been expelled several times through the ground, is taken by firefighters to an apparent cave in a mountain range, which is located to the south of the municipality. It is said that whoever passes the dirt road near the Serra do Corpo Seco at night can hear the cries of the creature echoing from inside the cave. In Parana, Santa Catarina, and part of the interior of São Paulo, it takes the name of Bradador, Berador, Baruleiro, and Bicho Nulhento, and frequented the towns, shouting in the fields after midnight. During the day, he assumed the form of a dry body and frequented cemeteries. Number 12. Ipupiara. Ipupiara or Ipupiara, according to the Tupis of the current Brazilian coast in the 16th century. was a sea monster and cannibalist. A chronicle by Pero de Magalhaes Gandavo, published in 1575, tells that an Ipupiara appeared in 1564 on the beach of São Vicente and terrified the Indian slave Iris, who was going to meet her lover on the beach and saw the appearance of the monster as a punishment. The Ipupiara, apparently, had already killed her lover, Andira. She fled in terror, but on the way she met Captain Baltazar Ferreira, who confronted the monster and killed it with his sword. According to the chronicler, the monster was 15 palms long and was strewn with hair all over its body, and on its muzzle it had very large silks like mustaches. Another colonial chronicler, the Jesuit Fernão Cardim, said that such creatures were of good stature but very repulsive. They killed people by hugging them, kissing them, and squeezing them until they choked. These monsters also devoured human eyes, noses, fingertips, toes, and genitals. They also existed in a female form, and they had long hair and were very beautiful. The Ipupiara was, according to these chroniclers, a bestial, hungry, disgusting being with primitive and brutal ferocity. Number 13. Mapinguari. An Amazon legend tells that a shaman discovered the secret of immortality, and that is why he became the Mapinguari. He angered the gods and was severely punished for discovering him, forcing him to transform into a wandering beast for the rest of his life. Modern sightings describe the beast as a giant sloth. Many cryptozoologists speculate that the Mapinguari is either a mylodontid or a megalonychid, giant, medium-sized ground sloths from the Ice Age that lived in the area. The creature supposedly also has a horrible odor, which can supposedly knock a man unconscious. Tribal depictions and stories describe a humanoid creature with a mouth in the middle of its stomach. It is sometimes said to have one eye, long claws, alligator skin, backward legs, and a second mouth on the belly. The Mapinguari stories may be folk memory passed down for centuries about the great creatures that once were. Number 14. Matinta Pereira. Matinta Pereira is an old witch who haunts the nearby houses at night. Legend has it that at night, Matinta Pereira turns into a bird and perches on the roofs of houses, emitting a high-pitched whistle that disturbs people's sleep and scares children. She only stops when the resident, already very enraged by her shrill whistling, tells her, "Matinta, you can come by tomorrow to pick up your tobacco." The next day, an old woman shows up at the residence where the promise was made, to pick up the tobacco. If she refuses what she promised, a misfortune will happen in the house of the one she made the unfulfilled promise. The old woman is a local who would carry the curse of becoming Matinta Pereira. The old people said that the transformation would be hereditary. That is, it would pass from mother to daughter. In case there is no heir, the Matinta, when she is about to die, asks, "Who wants it? Who wants it?" If someone answers, "I want," thinking that it is an inheritance of money or jewels, she actually receives the fate of becoming Matinta Pereira. Number 15. Boyuna. Boyuna legend has it that a very bad woman, belonging to an Amazonian tribe, used to kill and devour children. Outraged, her tribesmen decided to throw her into the river. However, she did not die because she was saved by a kind of demon called Anhanga. Eventually, they marry and have a son who was turned into a snake by his father so that he could live with his parents in the river. Over time, it grew to an enormous size, so much so that the rivers no longer had fish. With that, the great serpent began to terrorize and devour the people of the tribes who lived near the rivers. When her mother died, the snake became so enraged that she decided to live in a stage of torpor under the big cities. It is believed that the great serpent was responsible for creating part of the rivers. That's because when it crawled, it left gigantic furrows in the earth, which over time became mighty rivers, like the Amazon.